Screenwriter's Journey, day 188, Captain's Log, working on page 72. And let's see what's going on here. Let's see what they know about any of this. So Lexi is being subjected, shall we say, to Rachel's, I don't know about brainwashing, but maybe you could call it that, manipulation. And that line about the private island is up for debate because she doesn't necessarily know his plans, especially because she's playing dumb. And the ugly truth that will eventually come out is that everything she is saying pretty much is true of herself, not Holly, in terms of the manipulation and the fact that she's going to get paid for doing this. And I still need to work out some of those details about what Rachel is really up to, because she's telling Lexi that Holly was behind all this and it basically faked the kidnapping and was going to have her delivered to her father and then collect some sort of payday, and then Lexi is off to live with him and Holly washes her hands of it and gets some money. So I think if you dived too deep into that, you'd realize several fallacies in her story and kind of her logic. But the way she's piling it on to Lexi, it's really not something she's concerned about right now. So now this dialogue I'm writing, I'm not going to call it vomit dialogue, but because I never use that phrase, but that was just stuff I wanted to make sure I wrote down because I was thinking about it at the time. And it was sort of a conglomeration of everything that Rachel potentially could say. And I'm doing that in the present day, which is March 13th. And a big long block of Lexi dialogue for near the end when she confronts Holly. And you'll see that once I get to it. But so as I'm going through here, I'm already cleaning these up a little. And you could say, Jack, it needs a lot more than a cleanup. It needs a extreme makeover like the old TV show. So I didn't do a whole lot there. I mean, some of this, I don't know. I'm really torn about if this is way too much, if it should come out in little chunks, bigger chunks. Because Jake, as we know, based on what he's studying, criminal pathology or whatever it's called, or psychology, maybe that was it. He wants to learn how to profile people, and he's had 3 years of school. So in his mind, what this is a master class in watching someone who is this total nut job, and he is in effect learning. I don't know that he's learning how to profile, but he's taken what he's learned, plus he's having this experience, and I think he's going to be able to conclude that she is in fact totally pulling the wool over Lexi's eyes. But he stays silent throughout this because he doesn't really want to affect Lexi's decision or doesn't want to set Rachel off. And secondarily, I do think that he isn't 100% sure that he's correct. And if he's wrong, he doesn't want to be, not that he would be afraid to take the blame, but he would probably feel bad if he said something and it set Rachel off. And, who knows if she would shoot someone, or I don't know what she would do. And I'm the writer. So what I'm doing here now is just kind of a little house cleaning, if you will. It's up to... So again, mostly trying to shorten it and or put some blocks of something in between there to make it a little more palatable. Sometimes, if you have a super good actress or actor, there's nothing wrong with giving someone a huge block of dialogue if it's really captivating. And obviously, it's been done in films and TV shows before, and I wouldn't be opposed to it. It's really not, I'm not going to say not my style. I rarely do it because the big speeches sometimes can be off-putting. Although I do think probably later on they may be more palatable once you know the character, as opposed to someone gives a big soliloquy 5 pages in or 5 minutes into a movie, because it's going to be, at that point, it's going to be mostly exposition because you don't know anything about the person. You may learn something about them from listening, but I think later on, maybe I'm just saying that to justify these, because it does get very dialogue-y and talky, and you really can't avoid when you've got a plot that's anything more than very, very basic, like, some Western where they're just out for revenge, and you know who the good guys are, you know who the bad guys are, and all that's left is all the visuals, which can be really cool, a big gun battle or a war or something like that, when literally nothing needs to be spoken. But unless they're going to pantomime this and use shadow puppets to tell the story, for better or worse, the nature of this is you've got to hear from people. And the reason I'm sort of making a big deal out of it, I see I misspelled Jake right there. There we go. Is the producer that I am writing this for. I say that in a very, very, very loose way because, again, all he said is send it in and I'll look at it or have someone look at it. But he is, the stuff I've seen of his is not really dialogue heavy, although one of them, I guess, is a little bit more so. But so I don't know about nervous, but concerned. I don't know what adjective I would use there, but I'm certainly cognizant of it. Let's say that. But at this point, I've gone over this story so many times that I'm not going to fundamentally change it again. I say that. Anyways, day 188 done. Bye.